Tim is the self-described nice guy who's going to give it his all, and I think that's exactly what Katie needs.
You know, Tim is getting exactly what he has asked for.
Tim is getting exactly what he has asked for. Tim is getting exactly what he has asked for.
What the It's just totally not what I wanted.
When you sat there and talked at her, it was gaslighting 101.
They get to ridicule these people in these high stress, crazy environments and be like, oh, you're behaving badly. Oh, boo. Feel bad about it. Hey guys, it's Briar and let's chat about it. Now, I have always been a girly that loves me a good reality TV show. However, the show Married at First Sight Australia has made me more and more uncomfortable with every passing season, and it feels like every year it finds a different way to cross the line from fun, silly, scandalous entertainment to encouraging really serious and problematic behavior in relationships under the guise of experts putting these couples together. And that is what I really wanted to chat with you guys about today, is the experts on Married at First Sight. It does also feel like the conversation often revolves around the edit and what the producers are up to and the cast and whether or not they're real and what they're really getting up to. But for me, the biggest problem always comes back to the experts and the fact that the premise revolves around these three people pairing you with your most compatible match and putting you through an experiment that is designed, I think you just heard my eyes roll, to set you up for success and to really test if you are ready for the relationship. So yes, it's true. I angrily watched this season of Married at First Sight Australia so that we could have a big old yap about it, so that we could chat about the experts and I could systematically break down why they enrage me so much. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick around and let's get into it. I said I wasn't going to watch this season, but the more that was coming out about this show and the more that I heard about the couples that were being put together, I was like, that's it. Hold my microphone. I'm going to watch this show so that I can come to you guys with all of my opinions and examples as to why I feel like the MAFS Australia expert should be ashamed, embarrassed, whatever scandalous thing I put in the title. Or maybe I chickened out and just said, you know, we really need to talk about the MAFS experts. Also, I will say now, most of this is more of a light-hearted rant with backed up facts and opinions and examples. But there are some more serious examples that we will cover, and I will give a warning before we get into them. But let's just get into it, shall we? So, I'm assuming we've all watched Married at First Sight before. If not, the TLDR, but we know that I'm not very good at making a long story short, is that we have three experts, whomst I will introduce you all to in a minute. They get a large amount of participants to go through a very rigorous audition, interview, whatever you want to call it, process for the show. And they take all of those participants and find the best matches, the most compatible couples out of all of those participants. Once they've made those matches and couples, they then get married, sight unseen. Pretty sure that was their catchphrase. Don't know if it still is. Or is that Love is Blind? I'm getting my shows confused. Sorry. They get married. They first see each other for the first time at the altar. They then go on a honeymoon and then they enter a 8-week experiment where the weeks basically go through different sets of challenges and focuses for each week. They have a dinner party every week, and then also every week they have a commitment ceremony where the experts give advice and help the couples work through their problems. You'll see a lot of bunny ears in this video, sorry about it. I guess it's Easter season. At these commitment ceremonies, they help the couples, and then each week at the commitment ceremonies, these couples will have their own decision if they want to stay or leave the experiment. If both choose to leave, the couple leaves. If one says leave and one says stay, they have to stay. And if both say stay, they obviously stay. And at the end of the 8-week experiment, they have the final vows, which is where they decide if they're going to take their relationship out into the real world. Because this is an experiment after all. This is in fact not real life. It's fake life, apparently. Apparently this is just 8 weeks of made up nonsense. They decide if this relationship that they've spent the last 3 months working at is worth it to take into the real world, live their lives, live, laugh, love, blah, blah, blah. you get the picture. So now that you have a subpar understanding of the show, if you have never watched it, let's say hello or g'day mate maybe to the experts, because I feel like that's a good place to start. We have 3 experts in the show, and let's talk about probably the most popular expert that you guys would know of, which is John Aiken. Now, what I find incredibly interesting about John is that in previous seasons, or he had in the past been introduced as a clinical psychologist, whereas now that is definitely not what they advertise on the 9.com.au website or even his own website. And they simply just say that he has been working in the field of relationships for over 25 years. He has successfully run a private practice over this time, giving out practical advice to singles and couples. I'm very sorry to say, as someone from New Zealand, he did get some of his qualifications in my country, New Zealand. Also, I know that his wife is a Kiwi, so I don't know how we got involved in this. I don't really I have no further comment, Your Honor, please. I would like to distance myself from this drama at this time. He studied clinical psychology at the Victoria University in Wellington, which is our capital city. So do with that what you will. But he is the first expert, and John is definitely known for giving home truths or hard truths. He really loves to call people out.
That is not turning up for her. It's not validating her.
Somebody over there is lying. Someone is not telling the truth.
You have to stop playing the victim and look at me when I'm talking to you, because I won't get another chance to give this to you straight.
Which I'm pretty sure if you're a therapist, that's not really how that works. Yes, you challenge people's perceptions, beliefs, and how they do things, because that's literally how are they going to change if you don't challenge, if you don't question their perception of reality. But the way that John does it, in this show, sorry I'm talking like a bloody Australian, it may happen a lot throughout this video, and I'm sorry. I do apologize, but he loves to call people out. He basically sets himself up for bazingas, I like to say, because you are the one that put these couples together, calling you out, when I'm literally the person that finds these people in the casting process. And I just personally find it hard to believe that John, or to be honest, any of these experts, have no idea that these people are going to behave in the way that they do. Anyway, next expert is Alessandra Rampolla, and she is a clinical sexologist from San Juan, Puerto Rico, and she has over 20 years of experience, and she actually joined later in the MAFS universe. She joined in season 8 in 2021. She has her master's degree from the United States, and she really brings in, as you would imagine, the intimacy portion. She has a whole week, which we will chat about later, don't even worry about it, called Intimacy Week, where she really takes the reign on that week. And whilst just I feel like with having a clinical psychologist would be very helpful, I do feel like this is obviously a very important part of a marriage. The way that it is approached doesn't ever seem to change the inevitable outcome. Let's meet our final MAFS expert, which is Mel Skilling. Sorry, I'm dyslexic. Skilling. I'm sorry. She is a dating and relationship expert, and she really works through dating, relationships, parenthood, career, and divorce. And her education also does seem to be in psychology, with a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology and a graduate diploma in psychology. And the reason that I point out all of their qualifications is to point out that this is the angle that they are coming into the show from. They are coming into the show that they have a qualification, an official and academic qualification. They have real life experience working with couples, and they're saying that they're using all of this experience to help these participants find someone that they are highly compatible with, and that they have put in a lot of effort, time, and their knowledge to match them with. And then not only that, they've designed this experiment to help them bond, connect, and form a strong relationship. And that is truly the ultimate premise as to why I have such an issue with these experts, because unlike a Love is Blind or even a Bachelorette, like, that is not done under the guise that these people were put together by experts, and everything that they are putting you through is to help you bond with that person, is to help you form a connection, and is with you and your relationship in mind. And as we will go through it, I think it becomes immediately clear that that is not the case. And honestly, to me, it just feels like a false pretense that that is why they are bringing these people together, and it can truly be really detrimental. Now, I'm not going to be introducing you guys to all of the couples because that would just turn this thing into a recap, and that would be diabolically long. Pause for overwhelming request for a MAFS recap. No, I couldn't. I simply couldn't. That video would be like 2 hours. Who would that be good for? Anyway, I will be introducing you guys to some couples, and I will obviously be using visual aids and video clips and things like that so that you can keep up if you haven't watched the season. But otherwise, let's simply get straight into it, and let's simply start with the matchmaking process itself, with the couples that these experts so expertly crafted. Because at this point, it has truly become a meme that the experts are so bad at putting these couples together and will ignore very big deal breakers that people have and match them together on very trivial or small things. So I just wanted to show you guys some TikToks to start us off with how much of a meme that it has become of how bad they are at matchmaking.
I want to look at Tanya. She's 32. She really wants to start a family ASAP. She's been cheated on in the past, so her self-confidence is very, very low. Call me crazy, but let's match her up with Jock. This is an exciting match because Jock's a misogynistic prick. He doesn't want children. He doesn't want to settle down. He wants to live the bachelor lifestyle forever. He tends to say things like, put a muzzle on your woman. So yeah, no, I think this will be good. He's cheated on every girlfriend he's ever had. This is a good guy. With Tanya's confidence already here, Jock will crash land it, but that'll build resilience. And this is why it's a good balance. Tanya's here for love, Jock's here for the Instagram followers. So it's a match made in heaven. Should we lock him in? All right, hands in, 1, 2, 3, train wreck. Excited, it will be good.
Now, our coupling is always scientific with a lot of research behind it. Close your eyes. And cheers. Now, Liam says he hates blondes, he doesn't like girls that are into astrology, and he's a huge meat eater. Oh, I've got the perfect girl. Meet Joanna. She's a vegan blonde astrologist who calls herself a typical Gemini. Now, what about Katie? She's just come out of a turbulent relationship. She's been cheated on 48 times and is really looking for someone to love and treat her right. Got it. Eric. He's a piece of shit with a wife and kids on the outside. Oh, now what about Paul? Paul absolutely loves his fur baby. He's a full-time electrician and he's just genuinely looking for love. Let's pair him with @Tanisha_official, who's here for a blue tick and looking to start her own podcast. Perfect match.
So she has 5 children and he is basically a child. So I'm thinking we look that one in, right? I think she's looking for a sick child.
That is perfection. He's a gym rat, doesn't like curvy women. She's a couch potato.
Couch potato and fitness freak, yes please, lock it in. She loves crystals and cupcakes and hugging treats, and he loves giggling out his gun on a Sunday and shooting ducks. And I just think he's a made in heaven. Lock it in. Lock it in. Lock that one in. Quack, quack, quackity, quack, quack.
We have a great guy here, his name's Jake, and he lives in Western Australia.
Yeah.
His non-negotiable is actually moving when he finds his partner. But to pair him with Ashley, beautiful girl. And she lives right up the top of northern Queensland.
Yes, I think they both mentioned that they enjoy going out for dinner. So they should be able to have like nice dinner together.
They've got lots of things that they love together, especially dinner.
In common. You put them together and they will be a great match. I'm excited for that one, guys.
Me too. So next up, ladies, we have got Jasmine. Now, Jasmine
she's so sweet.
Yeah, we love Jasmine. She has got 2 little girls that she loves.
The twins.
That's so cute.
Loves them. And we've actually decided we're going to pair her with Luke. Now, Luke doesn't like kids, can't stand them, doesn't want them. This experiment could really help bring that out of
like
him.
a learning experience.
Yes,
you know?
that's
like,
it, yes.
Yeah.
Absolute perfect match, and I just can't wait to see them meet each other.
I know.
Both of them so much
So
love each
excited
other.
for Jasmine and Luke.
Okay, so Daniel, we've been trying to get him on the show for years.
Yeah, Daniel, that's
and he's
right.
not interested in a relationship, never had a relationship.
Doesn't want love, happy without it.
Yeah, been single
remember.
for his entire 27 years, right? Living that bachelor lifestyle. So we're going to pair him with Stephanie. Okay. Stephanie, she has applied for the show 3 times now. She's desperate for love. She feels like she's running out of time.
Yeah.
Opposites attract.
Yeah, Matt's making heaven.
Desperately wants it. She will cling to him.
I'm excited to see these two
like
meet.
pulling away, it would be like magnet. It would be
magnet.
Magnet.
Love at first sight, this one.
Yeah,
Love it.
married at first sight.
And this sentiment was once again proven right this season. I feel like there is no better example of this than Athena and Adrian, because yes, they obviously got along, but they had serious deal breakers from the get-go. One being that he was very unsure about the fact that she already had a son, and he clearly was not that open to it, and the other them being on the opposite sides of Australia.
Because I always said that I wanted more children. I want to build onto my already family, and I want a partner to do it with.
Having a kid is a special moment in your life. I don't know how I feel about you have experienced that with someone else. And I sort of, like, my biggest thing was I sort of want to share that special moment as a first with someone else's first.
Equally, Elliot and Lauren, they matched them purely because they both like the more traditional roles in a relationship, but none of their personal interests match. And their personalities very obviously butted heads from the get-go, and I feel like if you're an expert with all this knowledge of how people behave and personalities interact with each other, you should have seen that from a mile away, and yet they're like, oh, but she wants to be a stay-at-home mum, and oh, he likes to have a traditional woman. Let's ignore everything else. Oh, Athena and Adrian, I don't even know why they put them together.
Editing Briar here, I remembered why they put Adrian and Athena together, and if you haven't watched the show, hold on to your bootstraps, because I promise you the literal and true reason that they put Adrian and Athena together is because they are identical twins. No other reason, no other considerations for anything else, just the fact that they are both identical twins.
Equally, they put together Dave and Jamie, where Jamie is literally afraid of dogs, and Dave has a dog and loves his dog. Yes, they did clearly connect, but how could they not see that that would be an ultimately huge deal breaker and a huge hurdle for a relationship? Equally, this season, we had two couples that were matched together that already knew each other. We had Paul and Karina, where they had gone on a date and Paul literally ghosted Karina. And then we had Rhea and Jeff, who literally dated each other for, I think, a couple of months before it kind of fizzled and went back into the friend zone. And the experts, they're like, pinky promise, we swear we had no idea.
Yeah. Tell me this, honesty. I need honesty here. Did you not know that two of those couples had previously met? In fact, one of those couples had previously met and previously porked because they were part of the run club. And when they run, they run and then they pork. Did you know that?
No. It was genuinely a shock to us because we specialise in matching strangers.
Yeah.
And so when both of them knew each other, both couples, it's like, what do we do here? But the thing is, when you're matching, you find out about their backgrounds, but only their significant relationships. So their rendezvous, their flings, their one-night stands, you're not going to find out about any of that. And so you literally are finding out on the day when they walk down the aisle and lock eyes, oh, hell, they know each other.
And it's just like, I find this really hard to believe, especially from what we know about the interview process and from what they show us about the interview process. Like, I would be really, really, really surprised if there was nothing about your dating history or past relationships or things like that. I could possibly understand the Paul and Karina thing slipping through if it was one date, but I find it incredibly hard to believe they had no idea that Rhea and Jeff had previously dated, because they had dated for a while. Through the basic information that you provide, the extensive questionnaires, the interviews, the psych evaluations, and the meetings, that does involve your relationship history. So I just find it like I'm struggling to believe earnestly, to take them at their word that they had no idea that they hadn't dated before, and that instead they were like, I think that this would make for great TV. And I ultimately feel like that is why it's such a problem having these decisions come from experts, because the decisions are ultimately being made for what makes good TV. But when it's coming from under the guise of an expert having your best interest and a compatible relationship for you as the cover for why they are doing what they're doing, is just really problematic to me personally. Now I wanted to talk about Katie and Tim specifically for a little bit, because I feel like this is a coupling that we see basically every season, and it honestly just breaks my heart. And in fact, we kind of got two versions of this season, with Beth and TJ joining the show later on in the season as like the, what do they call them? The disruptor couples. But anyway, Katie is our classic, has been looking for love all her life, comes across incredibly sincere and earnest, and her biggest fear is being rejected or being judged by her physical appearance and being immediately written off for who she is without someone even putting the effort in to know her.
Coming into this, I'm actually like super terrified. Like, definitely scared of being rejected. I'm used to just people like not being attracted to me. I've been single for 10 years and I don't know how to get into a relationship. So yeah, why not just marry him straight off the bat?
You're trusting three people who tout themselves as experts and are putting in a lot of time and effort to find you someone that is compatible and won't make these fears come true. It's even more detrimental to someone like Katie, who all they have felt in their life is rejection. And literally what these experts and what Tim and what Married at First Sight did was make all of these nightmares come true.
Us guys finished last, but I'm hoping this person will change that and want the nice guy.
Why wasn't the spark there, do you think?
Just not normally just a bit different to what I normally go for, but she's so lovely. Scary part though. I didn't have that initial spark with Katie, but yeah. What the It's just totally not what I wanted. Not good.
Was literally reaffirm all of Katie's biggest fears about not being desirable, about not being good enough. They literally, with the couple of weeks that Katie was with Tim, she lost so much self-confidence. She was questioning herself. They put her with someone that made her question all of the effort and time and sincerity that she came into the experiment with, because he was upset that he didn't get a teeny weeny brunette or blonde. And there is no way that if that's something he's saying right off the bat to us, the audience, and to Katie and to production, there is absolutely no way that he didn't also say this to the Married at First Sight experts when he was being interviewed. And I'm gonna keep coming back to it, but if these people, like together, what they have 60 years worth of experience together. These people have all of this experience with so many different people, and you're saying that you do this really intensive interview process, and yet every single time they're acting so shocked as to how people behave when it feels like the most predictable outcome possible. And honestly, the Tim and Katie situation felt so incredibly predictable, and it felt like they just used Katie for this storyline. They used Beth as well, where Beth had no relationship before this. And my biggest problem with this specifically, these experts are basically validating those people treating them badly, because they're like, that's who we matched you with. We found your perfect partner. That's what we chose for you, so that's what you deserve. And it just literally, I cannot even imagine the absolute mind that it would have on someone when you've never had a relationship before, and then you have this kind of magical answer. There's 3 fairies, the pink, green, and blue one. Like, they all come together and they say, we found your perfect person. You can stop looking. We've put in the time, the effort. We've got your back. Don't worry about it, bestie. We've found your person. You're so compatible with this person. Now they're going to treat you like absolute baloney, but accept it. And that's what you deserve, because that's what we found for you, and that is what you're going to get. And so you're now going to stay with that person while they make you feel less than. You are going to have to experience them treating you poorly because they don't like you. Both TJ and Tim didn't like Katie or Beth or Katie. And it undeniably, undoubtedly affected their self-esteem. It made them question what they were worth, what they deserved in a relationship. And that to me is such a big and clear example of why I have such a problem with this coming from expert opinion, because when you haven't been in a relationship and when you don't know any different, this is going to mean so much more to you. This is going to affect you. This is going to make you question yourself and make you put up with things that you A, never should have to, B, definitely never should have to at the hands of an expert that found this person for you. And it's all under the guise of, we found this perfect person for you, but in reality, they found a perfect person for you to be on TV with.
I've been the one making most of the effort.
What the
But that's...
Are you serious? I don't like that. Hearing that, I was like, what the hell? That does not make sense. He's the one that's pushed me away from day one. He's the one that's rejected me.
What do you mean he didn't get what he ordered?
He said he wanted a blonde or brunette, somebody petite, somebody short, somebody quiet.
Did Tim say that?
Yes. In fact, he also verified that in the honeymoon. And, you know, that's not me. I'm not any of that. And I'm okay with who I am. I like who I am. But you don't want to focus on anything good I have. You're just focusing what I don't have. It was a massive disrespect for my time and everything I've given up to be here.
Just like I was there for the honeymoon to get to know her. And for me, building that spark is by getting to know someone. The only thing Katie knows about me is what I said in my vows.
Oh.
So after we left the honeymoon, I was hoping Katie would reach out and I would get something, because we spent all that time together.
What, the whole 48 hours we knew each other?
But I'd never heard from Katie again.
Well, just to recap the dinner party, when you sat there and talked at her, it was gaslighting 101. You deflected, you blamed her for everything. You said she broke your trust. You said that you were the most honest of the two of you. And ultimately, you made her feel like she was going crazy. The thing that broke my heart completely was hearing Katie go on to blame herself for the downfall of the relationship. Tim, this is a crossroads for you. You will either keep doing this gaslighting, keep blaming, keep dodging accountability, or you will sit here tonight and you'll say, I'm going to do better.
I feel like it's a lot on me, but there just sort of hasn't been the other way back.
This to me was a perfect example of one of John's classic bazingas, home truths, hard truths, whatever you want to call them, feeling just quite frankly empty, because yes, Tim absolutely needed to be called out for his horrible behaviour and for the way that he treated Katie. But all of a sudden, when you stop and realise that John and Alessandra and Mel are the reason that Katie went through that and was in that situation in the first place, it feels so empty and hollow that John is calling Tim out for this behaviour when they are the one that interviewed him, questioned him, and set him up with Katie and put Katie in that situation. And then to ultimately make themselves look better for calling him out on the couch. Like, it honestly just feels like a self-fulfilling prophecy that they have orchestrated.
Now, the next thing that I wanted to chat about was the challenges and the different tasks that they have each week. So the first week that they have is called Confessions Week. And in this week, they have a task where the brides and grooms have to rank everyone on their physical appearance from least to most attractive, and then they have to place their partner within that ranking. And well, I'll just let you hear the experts explain why they think that this is so important.
Where's letter?
Oh,
You got mail.
oh,
It's Confessions Week.
All right, it's Confessions Week.
Oh.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? Dun, dun, dun.
Confessions Week is a crucial part of the experiment. We want our couples to develop levels of emotional connection which would normally take months or even years to create in the outside world.
Get comfortable getting uncomfortable.
Oh!
Throughout the week, the couples will face a series of tasks that will challenge them to be honest with one another. They may find these tasks confronting, but each one is carefully designed to help them to be vulnerable with one another so they grow as a couple.
The photo ranking task asks our couples to reveal what they find attractive in a partner. How they balance honesty with empathy for their partner's feelings is crucial for this stage of the experiment.
It honestly makes zero sense. I honestly just find it so hard to believe that these challenges are something that John or Mel, maybe Alessandra would do the intimacy stuff to an extent, but I just find it so hard to believe that John and Mel would do these in their real life practice. Like, it's so clear that these challenges have been made for good TV, for ratings, for drama, to cause friction within relationships. But again, they're selling it to us as we've devised it to help them to connect. We've devised this to help build a bond, to help open communication, to help them talk about things that they otherwise wouldn't have this quickly. And it's just like, I see that Mr. John Aiken is standing at the photo ranking challenge is for legit and honest reasons stall. And I'm sorry, John, I'm not buying it. I'm not going to buy this baloney that you're selling about this photo ranking challenge doing anything but causing drama. And the weirdest part about it is it feels like there's no right answer, because when Jackie said that she wanted Ryan to put her first because she wanted him to see her as the most attractive woman, they were like, oh, so you want him to lie? And it's like, well, then what is the point of this challenge? Like, the only right answer is to put your partner first, because that's how you want to see your partner. You want to see them as the best person, and it's because you also have the emotional connection. But then when Jackie says she was upset about it and Ryan's like, well, I'm not going to lie, they're like, yeah, did you want him to lie? And it's like, well, then what's the point of the photo challenge? Is it that we're being honest, or is it that we're proving that we have a genuine connection? Is it to cause drama? Is it to let other contestants know who thinks who's good looking? Like, what was the reason for this challenge? And then after Confessions Week, we have Intimacy Week. And I feel like in the past, they've definitely done weirder things where they make people like literally stare into each other's eyes for 5 minutes. I kid you not. They're like, okay, put a timer on and stare at each other in the eye. Are we doing Intimacy Week right? I don't know. Irregardless, this time they decided to talk about intimacy with the ladies, and then the ladies got to pick their ultimate intimacy night. And so the girlies all went out. They got lingerie, they got food, they decided what they wanted to do, how they felt like it would build intimacy for them. And it was in these group settings. So it was never about Alessandra sitting with them one-on-one, meeting each couple where they were at and helping them build intimacy in a way that works for them. It was like, okay, girls, think of some sort of steamy night. And then it's like, okay, boys, how did your steamy night go? And shock horror to no one, Ryan from Ryan and Jackie was absolutely a grossy about it. Josie Grossy. Ryan Grossy about it, and said that Jackie had crazy eyes, and then said that, oh, at least she gives really good. If you can't fill in the blanks, I'm sorry, I can't help you. It was disturbing. And like, Alessandra calls him out mildly, but not really. And then all the guys are just sitting there like really uncomfortable. Like, I don't need to know that about Jackie. That, like, why are you sharing that?
And then suddenly like the crazy eyes came like,
what?
Try living with it. It didn't go the way either of us wanted, but we I've got to say, like, she gives awesome. I'm just gonna say it like that.
He said that equally after just dissing her whole night and completely misrepresenting the night and how he behaved. And I feel like that's also a really interesting point of Intimacy Week, is that you're getting each person without their partner, so you have to trust that they're a reliable narrator. Equally as if you've never watched Married at First Sight and you're just listening to me, you're trusting that I, Briar Chats, am a reliable narrator. But it was very clear that Ryan was not a reliable narrator. He very quickly made himself look way better than he was during the task, and then he also talked badly about his partner in front of the group of boys. And you did this for what, Ryan? Now, I feel like it wouldn't be a season of Married at First Sight without some shady couple goings on behind the scenes. And this is the one thing that really pisses me off as a rule follower. Maybe it's my Virgo moon and rising, you tell me. They're always up to no good when the cameras aren't on. They're always doing stuff. They're always going out, hanging out with production, and they're just up to absolutely no rootin' tootin' good. And this season, what happened was Adrian of Adrian Afina and Sierra, whom I haven't introduced you guys to, but she and Billy, they don't make it very far, so womp womp. But basically, Adrian of Adrian Afina, he meets up with Sierra behind their backs for dinner. As Sierra put it, they shared a plate of meat.
It was so innocent, like we just went for a plate of meat.
Not a euphemism. And they also shared information with each other that they did not with their own partners. So emotional, cheating, blurry lines going on there. Because of all of this, Billy made, and I'll put it in, Billy made a comment about partner swapping. And boy was that boy ripped to shreds. He was made out to be like the worstest guy in the room.
Well, Billy, just on that, it really troubled me when I heard that you had mentioned the possibility of a wife swap. Doesn't matter how you say that, that is poor form. You cannot be treating a woman like a piece of meat. And when we heard it, we were shocked. That's not the Billy we know.
No. I think this is, as well, like you say, the Billy you know is not here right now. Them comments, it's not acceptable. I hold my hands up. It's wrong.
And then we had two, not one, but two partner swapping related tasks this season. The first being the classic partner swap, where you literally swap and live with a different bride or groom for a couple of days.
Karina and Paul, as the experiment enters its final weeks, maybe contemplating whether your bond with your partner is strong enough to withstand life away from the experiment.
Sometimes the best perspective is an outsider's point of view.
We have decided to bring back a polarising element of Feedback Week, the partner swap.
For the next 3 days, Veronica will pack her bags and move in with Dave.
What?
While Rhea will move into your apartment with Elliot.
This is not about trading partners.
That's crazy.
This is designed to give a fresh perspective to the relationship.
And the second being, right before final vows, they were told, hey bestie, so you know how you went through this really long process to see who you're compatible with? Well, great news, there was actually someone else you were also really compatible with. And if you want to, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can meet them.
Couples will be faced with something that will not only raise questions about their relationships, but also their commitment to each other.
The matchmaking process is extensive and thorough. Thousands apply to be involved in this experiment, which means we meet and analyse hundreds of potential participants.
During the matchmaking process, there was more than one person that our participants were compatible with. So this task tests our participants' commitment to their relationship.
We can now reveal that during the matchmaking process, there was more than one person you were compatible with.
For this final task, you have the opportunity if you choose to meet them. Right now, your partner is receiving the exact same task and will also decide whether to meet this other match.
This will give you the chance to really evaluate your relationship and hopefully answer the question, is the grass greener on the other side?
Why are we, in one breath, making Billy feel so bad for saying that it's clear that Sierra and Adrian wanted to be together, or Sierra thinks she's more compatible with Adrian, and making that seem so outlandish and how dare you bring it up? But then you're also constantly putting these couples in these positions to think about partner swapping, to know that there are other people out there that are compatible for them, to make them have to share a house, a room, a bed whatever, with other couples. So for the partner swapping week, they try to sell it as a new, fresh perspective on their relationship from another couple. But it's like, you can do that without making them live with each other, and in some couples' cases, literally sleeping in the same bed. Sleeping, sure, but like, what? Why? In your professional expert opinion, would that be of benefit to this couple? I feel like giving feedback, sure, of benefit. Maybe it would be actually more beneficial if they had regular catch-ups with these experts, had time to talk with these experts, had time to actually sit down, reflect, and work on their relationships properly with these experts instead of doing silly, goofy partner swaps and silly, goofy ranking challenge and like going on a retreat. Like, they're already on holiday. Why do we need to go on a retreat? Either way, it's just another example of it so clearly for the drama, the ratings, the performance of it all. But just like with every other task, we have it being sold to us by these experts with their professional opinion and their professional reasons, yet it genuinely feels like they just made up a reason after the fact because they found something that will get them really good ratings on TV. And then obviously with the final challenge and test being, do you choose to go on the date with that other person that's compatible? There is absolutely no other reason for it than ratings, then to see who behaves like what, then to see who chooses to make what decision. Again, they try to sell us like it's to test the strength, to test where they are, to make them introspect on why they did or did not go on the date. But in reality, all it does is cause more drama and more ratings and clicks and excitement for the show, which in of itself, I get it, that's the whole point. But if that's the case, if every decision that is being made by these experts is for the ratings of it all, stop telling us, stop lying to our faces like you think we're some silly goofy goobers that don't know better, and saying that there's a genuine reason to help build the relationship for each task. And now, before we talk about the commitment ceremonies, I did want to talk about the Paul situation, and this is where I want to put in a trigger warning for DV, because this to me was beyond insanity and definitely needs a trigger warning. So it was not actually captured on camera, but basically what happened was Paul and Karina were out with Ree and Jeff, the only good couple from this season, when they were in the taxi, and a song that was being sung or rapped by a rapper was playing in the taxi, and Karina made a hee ha ha offhanded comment that she hooked up with that rapper, and everyone was like, ha ha ha, wow, no way, cool, move on with your life, right? Wrong. Paul did not move on with his life. Paul instead got so angry at Karina that he literally punched a wall. Punched the wall in their apartment. And the day after, when they were talking about it, it was just beyond concerning, because she was trying to reassure him that she was giving him space, that she was trying to de-escalate the situation, and he says, so what? I punched a wall for no reason?
I couldn't really take your apology sincerely, because it was like you saying you're sorry, but then you're adding a but. You were really angry at me, and you were like, well, if that's what you want, then just, you go like, I'm your wife, and you were like, yeah, then leave, and you just get hell upset at me, and that's why.
I didn't do that, Paul. Relax. You are so dramatic, and it's pissing me off.
No,
like, now I'm getting angry because you.
So I punched a wall out of thin air for nothing.
And I think the most insane part about this situation is that he was not kicked off the show. It was brought up in the commitment ceremony, and they were like, Paul, why shouldn't we kick you off the show? I'll play it for you. But he literally cries, blabbers, basically making Karina have to talk. Whilst he has a meltdown, Karina is the one that has to talk and share and explain when she is so obviously uncomfortable. And when he finally talks, he just says, I've never done this before. I'm making myself feel so bad about it. Yet in other breaths, he still places blame on Karina and doesn't fully take accountability that this action that he did was solely his fault. And for some reason, they kept them in the show to the end.
I want you to tell us why the three experts should not kick you out of the experiment right now.
I genuinely hate myself for what I've done. Like, obviously, you have no idea how much I regret this behaviour, how much I regret this. I've never done this in the past, ever. I've made the biggest mistake. This will never happen again, but I'm so ashamed of it. Like, I can't sleep at the moment because I just can't stop thinking about it. It's like I'm repeating in my head right now. I regret this so much. I'm sorry to let everyone down here, and you guys, and you, and everyone. I'm going to have to make that up to Karina, of course.
Thank goodness. I think whatever goody goodness is up there every day that Karina said no to Paul at the final vows. Like, thank goody goodness. And I guess thank goodness for the final test of going on the date, because Paul was just so curious that he had to go on the date and just see. He was very curious. He's just a curious guy. And he had to see who his other match was, and that was like the final straw for Karina and made her finally see the light that Paul was a doofus with a capital D. But in the show, there was no consequences for him. These experts are signing off on this being okay enough to not leave by allowing them to stay in the experiment and by encouraging them to still be together. Like, there is absolutely no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and this to me was beyond the final straw. There should be absolutely no excuses for it. This is not a second chance situation. This is so scary, and it was so scary seeing Karina justify and kind of allow and make excuses for Paul's behavior. And then the experts, by not kicking him off, by not having any real consequences to his behavior and letting them stay as a couple and letting them stay in the experiment, is not just saying to Paul and Karina that this is okay in a relationship and you should stay together, but is saying to people watching that that is okay. And it was so clear by the way that Paul continued to not be accountable, by the way that Paul continued to try and make Karina look worse in other situations, whether it be him calling her a snob to Athena, whether it be him having a tantrum after being rejected at final vows and saying like, I just wish she had tried harder to forgive me. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at a French accent. I'm really bad at pretty much every accent, to be fair. It's just like, how could you in your right mind, after you know so much about relationships, you know so much about people, you see someone do a behavior like that, you not only don't kick them off the show, you allow them to continue on the show, and then you continue to praise them when they do well in other situations, as if there isn't this terrible thing that he has done that is under no circumstances forgivable. And then his continued behavior, the way that Paul continued to talk about Karina, it was so obvious that he doesn't take full accountability for his actions. It's so obvious that he likes to blame other people. It just encouraged it. It never called him out. It never made him truly see. The only thing that made him truly see was Karina, but then he very quickly made it like it was her fault for not being able to forgive him.
Karina has also like probably not as much as I did, but Karina has also did say certain things to me, or has done certain things that who have also made me feel extremely uncomfortable and upset.
The last major thing I wanted to talk about was the commitment ceremonies, because this is where the couples are really getting that connection and that time and that feedback from the experts on their relationship each week and giving them like homework and things to work on. It's basically like a couples therapy session, but in front of a bajillion people. Instead of using these couch sessions to genuinely help people, to genuinely give advice, they often just use it as a way to like make the experts look better, or to call out these people that they have personally picked and call them out for their bad behavior that I'm so sure they knew they would do. I refuse to believe that these experts don't pick these people knowing how they're going to behave in this experiment, or have a very high guess at how they will behave, and then call them out for behaving exactly how they expected them to behave, and then not really giving them any practical advice, and then making them do these goofy challenges each week. Equally, these commitment ceremonies and dinner parties go until like the early hours of the morning, so people are not in the right mindset to be taking in this information. It's high stress, people are exhausted, there's a lot of drinking involved, and then you're making these people come into the situation where they are being grilled and attacked and expecting them to take the information on board. Spoiler alert, it doesn't happen, and I feel like with all the experience that these people have, and if they actually want to make them change their behavior and learn, they would know that how you deliver this information, how you help people, the way you talk to people is just as important as what you're saying. But instead, it feels like now they just like to call people out. Like John, just every chance he gets saying he has a home truth for people. Of course you're gonna look smarter, you're gonna look better than these people. That'd be like me being smug about winning an argument with a toddler. We're not on even playing fields. They are refreshed, they're not exhausted, they're in their normal lives, they're not drinking every night, and they get to ridicule these people in these high stress, high alcohol, crazy environments and be like, oh, you're behaving badly. Oh, boo. Feel bad about it. You suck. And it's just like, oh, I wonder who is going to have the upper hand here. The expert that isn't drinking every night in this crazy situation, high pressure, being filmed all the time, or these participants who have been chosen for a reason, being put together because they're so compatible with their match, being filmed pretty much all day, pretty much every day, drinking all the time, not in their home environment, literally with this person 24/7 in a strange environment, not doing their job, not having any sort of real external life. Because remember, this is made up life. This isn't the real world. This is experiment world. This is Lili La La Land. Oh, I'm so shocked that these people don't behave perfectly. And it's like, oh, I'm so shocked that the people that the experts picked that they thought would be so compatible are now behaving so badly and are now repeating the same relationship mistakes that they repeated over and over and over again. I'm so shocked. Look at how shocked I am. The only quality time that these couples get with these experts where they're being sold this as, this is the time you have to take advantage of the commitment ceremony, take advantage of the couch, put it all out there, and it's just used against them. What are you giving them that's practical to go away with and work on? The people that go away and work on things is because they're emotionally mature, emotionally invested, and want to improve upon their relationship and themselves as a person. It's almost in spite of the experts that these relationships work.
Apologies filming Briar, but if I, editing Briar, could just interject for a second, because I feel like one thing I didn't really explicitly emphasize on is that these commitment ceremonies and these couch sessions are the only time that these couples are getting quality time with these bunny ears, quote unquote, experts. And so when the priority and the main focus is actually getting the bazingas that I got used, which whilst yes is very satisfying to watch bad people behaving badly get called out, it's satisfying to see Adrian or Paul get put in their place, it's unfortunately at the expense of giving practical or relevant advice. And I feel like a perfect example of this, which I will show after I finish yipper-yappering, is when Jamie and Dave really hit a roadblock. Dave completely retreated into himself. It felt like he was being incredibly avoidant. Sure, maybe there was no way to avoid this, and this experiment in of itself kind of forces people to try and have a romantic relationship with people they don't feel romantically towards. I digress. Instead of giving actual practical advice, John is just sitting there getting Dave to like name how it makes Jamie feel and to be like, what are you gonna do? And he's like, I'm gonna woo her. He's a woo girl. And it just felt like such a missed and lost opportunity to actually help them as a couple and to actually provide their expert and real life experience and, you know, expertise on the situation, because the main priority and the ultimate priority is always going to be ratings, is always going to be how do we make this the most scandalous, how do we get the bazingas, the experts making the couples or people behaving badly look or feel stupid. Like, because that's the priority, we're never going to get quality advice in the only time that these couples are sitting down and getting it. Because as far as we see, so I'm going to take it at their word, they're not having sessions with these experts throughout the week. They're doing these silly little challenges. They're spending spending time with other couples, they're ranking other couples' photos, they're doing everything but like actual real life things that will help build a relationship. And the only time they have quality time with these experts is in front of their peers, being filmed, sleep deprived, probably hungover, and the experts are just trying to get a bazinga over them. So anyway, back to filming me, and here's the example I was talking about with Jamie and Dave.
This is one of the most uncomfortable spots in a relationship for me.
When Jamie said that she loved me,
I got scared because I was worried that I'm not going to get there, and you know, letting her down, letting this down. So I shut down and I handled it wrong.
Dave, you're at a crossroads. This is all about showing up and stepping up. We can talk about fear and your walls going up. That's fine, but frankly, it bores me. What we need to hear is how you're going to do it different. Get specific. What are you going to do this week?
Woo her.
Which suggests romance. Have you got that in you?
Sure do. Somewhere in there, I'll get it.
And I feel like that is really what takes me to the final conclusion of it all, where I truly feel like these experts are like that delusional clip of Taylor Swift singing to Joe, where she's just like, at least I did one thing right. I did one thing right. They don't even know how they made a successful couple. They're just like, you're doing amazing, sweetie. In spite of everything that we put you through, I can't believe you've made it. And for this season, it was Rhea and Jeff. And I find it really interesting, in fact, that Rhea does credit their success to the experts. When you look at the outcome, the statistics of it all, it really feels like it's in spite of the experts that they worked out. Sure, I agree that the experts probably pushed them to make themselves go out of their comfort zones and to actually focus on and work on a relationship. But I feel like the reason that Rhea and Jeff were successful is because they put in the work, they put in the effort, they took those 3 months that they were together and actually gave it a real go and actually were compatible because they already dated and they were already compatible, and the experts quite frankly just got lucky. It feels like dumb luck if we even get one successful couple out of each season. Like, it genuinely feels like worse than like actually pulling people out of a hat at this point. And honestly, it almost feels like you're more likely to find your match through MAFS maybe, but after the fact you end up dating someone else, which to me just really shows how little interest these experts have in pairing together the most compatible participants as couples, because we have seen multiple times now where couples emerge that weren't paired together and they're like, oh, that's really strange. Why would they end up together? Like Duncan and Evelyn, I feel like are a very good example. It's like, I feel like I could have put them together. I feel like most people would have put them together. But no, not the experts. Even though they pinky promise and swear they're using their knowledge for good and definitely not for ratings. How cynical of you. But anyway, I know for a fact that I have been yapping for way too long. So I really want to know what you guys think about this situation in the comments below. Final thoughts and takeaways is this. Let's not pretend like you're putting these people together out of compatibility and science and all of this effort, and that it's kind of a lottery if you're getting put together with someone that you're compatible with or that someone you're compatible with for rating. They absolutely encourage and justify relationships that should never be justified. They justify couplings and pairings that make absolutely no sense. They even tried to justify Jackie and Ryan. Like, just because they're weird doesn't mean they go together. Just because Lauren and Elliot wanted a traditional relationship doesn't mean they're compatible. I'm just tired. I'm tired of it, Grandpa. Stop lying to me. Stop pretending like this is all in the name of putting together these couples out of sincerity, out of compatibility, and just call it what it is. For the ratings, for the drama, for the experiment of it all. Don't call it anything else. And don't use your qualification and your experience to justify these actions, to justify these couples, and to justify behavior that is absolutely not okay. But anyway, I feel like I need to cut myself off. No more yapping for me. No more for me. So I guess that means it's your guys' turn. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I would love to know, did you watch MAFS this year? This was definitely the worst year. I definitely enjoyed it the least. Like, I truly mean it when I said I angry watched this season for you guys so we could talk about it. Like, I want you to know, no joy. I had no joy in watching this season, and that's sad because I love reality TV and I love joy. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments down below. I would love to know. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. If you stay till the end, you are a real one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to keep up with me between my uploads, I'm on TikTok and Instagram, and I'll link my vlog channel down below. And YouTube should be recommending another one of my videos on the screen somewhere right now. But don't you worry, guys, because I'm not funny there either. Bye.